New updates have emerged this morning regarding the tragic case of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, whose body was discovered inside a vehicle belonging to singer David. Her family is now preparing to celebrate her life and say their final goodbyes. Reporter Monica Deanda joins us live from Hollywood with the latest. Monica explains that Celeste's family has now received her remains and is taking steps toward a proper farewell. However, many questions remain unanswered, including what exactly happened to Celeste and why. Authorities continue to investigate the circumstances surrounding her passing. The LA County Medical Examiner has confirmed that her remains have been released to her family for memorial services, which may suggest that the cause of death has been determined, though that information has not yet been made public. More than 2 weeks have passed since the heartbreaking discovery of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, whose remains were found in a vehicle registered to singer David. The investigation is still ongoing, with authorities devoting significant time and resources to uncovering what truly happened. LAPD Chief Jim McDonald spoke with Eyewitness News, explaining that investigators are examining every detail, including the nature of the connection between 20-year-old David and Celeste, who had just turned 15. Detectives continue to follow every possible lead in order to gain a complete understanding of the case. Last week, investigators collected a computer during a search of a Hollywood Hills home where David had recently been staying. The singer, who had been on tour, has since canceled all upcoming performances and has not made any public comments regarding the investigation. Meanwhile, conversations online have grown more intense as people revisit his music videos and lyrics for deeper meaning. One of his most well-known songs is titled Romantic Homicide, while another, One More Dance, includes symbolic imagery that has attracted new attention. His animated video for Rehab also features dark artistic elements that are now being reinterpreted in light of current events. Celeste's story began years earlier. When she was about 11 or 12, she started spending more time online, searching for connection and comfort in the digital world. With her curly hair, bright eyes, and gentle smile, her posts reflected the innocence and curiosity of a young girl growing up. Her social media often showed her wearing oversized t-shirts and holding Hello Kitty toys, a symbol of the childlike warmth she still carried. On her private pages, she sometimes shared short dance clips and old photos, including one from 2013 showing her hugging a pink stuffed animal. Today, her family and community continue to wait for answers, hoping that the ongoing investigation will reveal the truth and bring peace to those who loved her. These online spaces became a place of comfort for Celeste, where she could freely express herself without feeling watched or judged. Her former boyfriend would later describe her home life as difficult, which made these digital connections even more meaningful to her. It was on a streaming platform that Celeste first discovered a young musician named David Anthony Burke, known simply as David. He was about 17 or 18 at the time and was starting to gain attention for his emotional and atmospheric songs. David often went live to talk about music production, anime, and manga, drawing in many young fans who shared his interests. During one of his live streams in 2022, Celeste commented on his song Romantic Homicide, saying how much she liked its sound. David noticed her comment and invited her to join a private chat group to continue their conversation. At first, their messages were light and friendly. Celeste talked about her love for Hello Kitty, while David shared ideas for the stories and music he was working on. But as time went on, their chats became more personal. He began asking about her family and school, sent her photos, and complimented her, slowly building a closer online connection. By 2023, when Celeste was only 13, they had exchanged many messages. David often spoke about his music and even mentioned taking her to a concert one day, trying to appear supportive and caring. Around that same time, however, some of his posts online revealed a more troubled side. He wrote about being fascinated by dark and emotional stories, describing them as a way to cope with difficult feelings. His words suggested that he was struggling internally, distancing himself from emotions in a way that hinted at deeper issues. In December 2023, a song demo titled Celeste Demo Unfin surfaced online. The lyrics carried a haunting tone, filled with sadness and longing, and seemed to reflect a personal connection to Celeste. Reports later suggested that her mother had heard the song before the heartbreaking events that followed, though few realized its significance at the time. As their online connection grew stronger through late 2022 and into 2023, the effects began to appear in Celeste's real life. Still only a 7th grader, she began disappearing from home for short periods. The first time happened in early 2023, though the details remain uncertain because her family was initially hesitant to involve the authorities. Neighbors later said they often saw her walking through the neighborhood alone, her curly hair easy to recognize. When she came back home after being away for a day or two, she seemed quiet and withdrawn, offering vague explanations about staying with friends. What started as innocent online conversations gradually turned into a troubling pattern that her family could not fully understand. It marked the beginning of a series of events that would deeply affect everyone who loved her. Each incident slowly eroded the fragile calm within her home, hinting at the turmoil that would later unfold. By the middle of 2023, Celeste's disappearances became more frequent. She would leave at unusual hours, seemingly drawn to the excitement and escape promised by David's world. Her family, already under strain, began to realize that her online connections were pulling her further away from them. Yet every attempt to intervene felt powerless against the lure of attention and acceptance she found on the internet. The turning point came on Valentine's Day in 2024, when 13-year-old Celeste left home and vanished. This was not a casual outing but a deliberate act, and her mother immediately contacted the Riverside County Sheriff's Office. The official report from that day describes a distraught parent begging for help and mentioning Celeste's history of online communication with older individuals. She was located days later in Hollywood after police followed a lead that placed her near a public area close to several music venues. Officers escorted her home, but the family's relief was brief. Over the next several months, at least 3 more missing person reports were filed for Celeste in 2024. Each case followed a familiar pattern of coordination between Riverside deputies and the LAPD, only for Celeste to return sporadically, sometimes on her own, sometimes brought back by authorities. These repeated incidents painted a heartbreaking picture of a teenager caught between a restrictive home life and an alluring digital world. Her absences stretched from hours to entire weeks. One of the most striking pieces of evidence came from security footage recorded on March 19, 2024, just a few weeks after her Valentine's disappearance. The video, lasting 78 seconds, captured a girl matching Celeste's description walking quietly down a street in her neighborhood early in the morning. She wore a dark sweater that seemed too large for her and light-colored pants that caught the soft sunrise. Her head was bowed, her curls bouncing gently as she moved toward a side street where she appeared to approach an unseen vehicle, its details hidden by the camera angle. The store owner, Ellie Nadaf, later told investigators that Celeste's sister had come by that same day, desperate to find any video that could help locate her. Ellie handed over the footage immediately, certain that the girl was Celeste. "I saw her beautiful curls and knew it was that sweet child," Ellie recalled. She remembered watching the girl disappear around the corner, possibly getting into a car, but the recording ended before anything else was visible. Ellie still regrets that no officer ever followed up with her directly, leaving what could have been an important lead unexplored. The sheer number of these incidents highlighted how many opportunities were missed and how the systems meant to protect her had repeatedly failed. Newly obtained records from October 3, 2025, revealed that deputies from Riverside County responded to Celeste's home an alarming 11 times between late 2024 and April 2025. Many of these calls were follow-ups on reports that she had gone missing, while others were welfare checks as family tensions continued to rise. 3 of those visits happened on a single day in March 2024, likely connected to the neighborhood security footage, showing how urgent the situation had become, yet real action never followed. Deputies would arrive, take notes, and leave with general reassurances, but there was never a deeper look into why a 13-year-old girl kept leaving home. This was not an isolated situation. It reflected a system stretched too thin and unprepared to handle repeated cases involving young people being influenced or lured through the internet. Adding more context was a statement from Damon Hernandez, Celeste's former classmate and brief middle school boyfriend, who decided to speak publicly in an interview on September 30, 2025. At 15, he described their short relationship as a moment of light in what had become a dark period of her life. "She was kind and always searching for something genuine," Damon said. But beneath that, he explained, was a difficult home environment. Celeste had confided in him about constant family arguments and how she often felt invisible and unloved, especially by her mother, whom she felt misunderstood her. Damon remembered her joking in class about wanting to run away, using humor to hide her sadness. She used to say her parents were too strict, that she hated being at home. It made her feel trapped, like she just wanted to escape. There was no mention of physical harm, but the emotional strain was unmistakable. Celeste's repeated disappearances were not acts of rebellion but rather silent pleas for peace. Damon's words gave a human face to the official records, turning numbers and reports into the story of a young girl whose quiet cries for help went unanswered through 2023 and 2024, leading up to her final disappearance. For her family, hope became fragile. Each time Celeste returned, it was a brief moment of relief followed by the same fear and uncertainty. After her Valentine's Day disappearance and the incidents that followed throughout 2024, she would often reappear unexpectedly, carrying the exhaustion of the journey behind her. Around mid-2024, one morning just after sunrise, she returned home on her own, a backpack hanging from her shoulder, her curly hair messy from travel. That small, silent knock on the door marked another fleeting reunion that exposed the deep cracks in the system meant to protect her. The final connection between Celeste Rivas Hernandez and her family faded on what seemed like an ordinary day in early May 2024, when the 14-year-old left home for what was meant to be a simple outing with her brother at Lake Elsinore. Her brother, Matthew Rivas, later spoke about that day with deep sorrow. She was supposed to meet him for a movie, but she never arrived. The plan had been innocent, just two siblings hoping to relax, share popcorn, and escape the growing tension at home. Celeste wore her usual casual clothes, her curly hair framing her face, and she waved goodbye with a quick hug. Her phone continued to buzz with messages from David as she left. Matthew waited at the theater, sending texts that went unanswered, watching the credits roll without her. As the hours passed, worry turned into fear. By nightfall, the family contacted authorities, marking the beginning of what would become her final disappearance. There were no calls, no clues, only silence that felt different this time, heavier, final. Fast forward to August 2025, when the story took a heartbreaking turn. Celeste had already passed away several weeks before her remains were discovered on September 8 inside David's vehicle, which had been impounded by authorities. Investigators later determined that her death occurred in late August. Her final days appeared to have been spent at a home in the Hollywood Hills where David lived, a place once filled with trust but later clouded by tragedy. What began as a missing person investigation soon evolved into a criminal inquiry, leaving Matthew and the rest of the family haunted by the thought of that missed movie night, a simple plan that would forever remain unfinished. The discovery of Celeste Rivas Hernandez's remains on September 8, 2025, sent shockwaves through the rising career of singer David, abruptly halting his momentum at its peak. Only days earlier, the 20-year-old artist had been in the middle of his world tour, performing to sold-out crowds from Seattle to San Francisco after the success of his debut album Withered, released in April, and a series of viral songs that dominated social media. Everything changed once investigators confirmed that the body found in his vehicle belonged to Celeste. The impact on David's career was immediate and intense. On September 16, he suddenly canceled his Seattle performance, citing unforeseen circumstances, followed by the suspension of all remaining U.S. dates, including a major Los Angeles concert and the planned European leg of the tour. Venues across the continent issued brief statements about cancellations due to unspecified reasons, leaving fans confused and anxious. As online speculation grew, David's team maintained complete silence, no statements, no interviews, just erased tour dates from ticketing sites while fans rushed to secure refunds amid the escalating media attention. Soon after, his professional partnerships began to collapse. Intercop Records, his label under Universal Music Group, suspended all promotional activities, postponed the release of the deluxe edition of Withered originally set for September 19, and pulled all active campaigns with brands such as Crocs and Hollister. In their joint statement, the companies expressed awareness of the ongoing situation and confirmed that they had removed promotional materials featuring David while waiting for more information from authorities. Other partners, including Sony Music Publishing and Wasserman, followed with similar pauses, freezing endorsement and licensing deals. The young artist who had once seemed unstoppable suddenly found himself under intense public and legal scrutiny. Yet, in a strange and unexpected turn, the controversy only amplified public curiosity, sparking an unusual resurgence in streams and online interest in his earlier music. David's 2022 breakout song Romantic Homicide, with its dark and emotional lyrics about heartbreak and inner turmoil, unexpectedly climbed back onto the Billboard Hot 100 at number 38. The track's return was fueled by an 87% surge in digital sales and streams. On September 21, David reached his highest streaming numbers ever on Spotify with more than 12 million plays in a single day. Many listeners, especially fans of true crime discussions, began re-examining the lyrics, drawing unsettling parallels between the song's story of regret and Celeste's fate. Critics described the sudden revival as deeply uncomfortable, accusing fans of turning tragedy into entertainment, while others defended it as an eerie coincidence between art and reality. The controversy mirrored past cases in music history where scandals unexpectedly boosted an artist's visibility. For David, it created a bitter irony. The song that once symbolized emotional pain had now become linked to a real-life heartbreak, transforming public outrage into renewed chart success. As the investigation deepened, David's silence only drew more attention. His fame dimmed publicly, yet strangely grew in the shadows. In situations involving well-known figures, emotional manipulation can take a subtle yet harmful form. It happens when an older and more influential person gradually builds trust with someone younger, creating a dynamic where admiration and dependence blur into control. In 2022, Celeste was a 13-year-old fan seeking connection, while David, then 17, was an emerging musician gaining attention online. The imbalance between them was clear: one was a young admirer, the other an idol with influence. These interactions often begin with innocent conversations, compliments, and shared interests like anime or music. Over time, that trust can become isolating, especially when the younger person begins to rely emotionally on the older figure. In Celeste's case, David's friendly messages and promises of meeting at concerts made her feel special, unaware of how the situation was evolving. This pattern, seen in other public cases, reveals how online relationships can blur boundaries and lead to emotional dependency. David reportedly connected with Celeste through a streaming platform where musicians often chat with fans. What may have started as casual exchanges slowly grew into private messages, demonstrating how easily admiration in digital spaces can become complicated when power and trust are unevenly shared. Jeffrey Epstein also took advantage of his influence and wealth to manipulate young individuals by offering promises of opportunity and success. Both he and others in similar positions used social or digital access to disguise their true intentions, much like the way David communicated with Celeste through online platforms. Celeste's family, who knew she had been chatting with David through a Spanish-speaking relative's account, never met him in person and assumed he was simply a harmless friend from the internet. This misplaced trust in a celebrity's public image left Celeste exposed to unseen risks. Her family remained unaware of how deep the situation had become until her disappearance turned into something far more serious. In the ongoing investigation surrounding the case of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, physical evidence has become the most striking and chilling link between the 15-year-old girl and David, the 20-year-old musician whose life changed completely after her remains were discovered. Among the items found, the matching tattoos and rings drew particular attention, not as signs of affection, but as disturbing reminders of a connection that crossed unacceptable boundaries. Online investigators studying old images noticed a small tattoo inside Celeste's ring finger, reading David in fine black script. This tattoo did not appear in earlier photos from when she was 13 but was later visible in pictures shared by her family in mid-2024, around the period when her disappearance became public. The tattoo's delicate style suggested an impulsive decision, possibly made during a brief visit home or while staying at one of David's rented places in Los Angeles. The placement, on the inside of her finger, an area often associated with secrecy or personal vows, hinted at emotional attachment and influence. David himself was seen with a similar tattoo in close-up shots from his September 2024 music video, the same month Celeste's matching mark first appeared. According to investigators, these tattoos became key evidence. Celeste's mother later confirmed that her daughter had mentioned getting the tattoo as a tribute to David after they met online, a revelation that left authorities deeply unsettled during her initial interview. The trail of evidence eventually pointed toward Celeste's hidden online world, private accounts where she seemed to live a second life. One in particular, a secret Instagram page themed around her lifelong love for Hello Kitty, appeared to contain crucial clues. Decorated with pink filters and playful selfies, the account once featured a story from July 2024 that has since been deleted. In it, Celeste's hand reaches toward the camera, her ring finger slightly bent, revealing the faint outline of the name David tattooed inside. On that same finger, she wore a simple silver ring engraved with a small heart intertwined with two initials. The post, captioned only with a Hello Kitty emoji and the phrase "My Secret," was screenshotted by a friend on Discord before disappearing, later resurfacing in police evidence files after her remains were found on September 8. This hidden account was far from ordinary. It served as Celeste's private vault, a place where she kept photos from concerts, blurry selfies with an older boy believed to be David, and emotional posts about tension at home. The Hello Kitty theme reflected a haunting contrast between her youthful innocence and the increasingly secretive life she was living. Experts who study online manipulation note how familiar childhood symbols can slowly shift in meaning, becoming a cover for unhealthy or controlling relationships. These small tokens took on a darker tone when compared with David's own digital trail. Several of his posts, later deleted after the controversy erupted, were preserved by followers. One video from early 2024 showed a young man in a pink jacket staring into the camera with a cryptic caption that hinted at jealousy and emotional conflict. Another post read, "I lied. I get jealous of everything. Pass me to Draco." What might have seemed like impulsive venting online began to echo the possessive tone that reportedly surfaced in Celeste's final messages, where she pleaded, "Please stop being jealous. He's just a friend." His responses, according to investigators, grew increasingly demanding, a troubling pattern that added weight to the timeline leading up to her disappearance. Another resurfaced post showed a cartoon-like image of a couple in an argument with the caption, "What it's like having a toxic girlfriend." Though seemingly playful, it revealed deeper issues about control and blame. Forensic psychologists later identified these posts as examples of emotional manipulation hidden behind humor, a way of normalizing harmful behavior online and desensitizing both followers and victims to warning signs. In Celeste's story, the tattoo and the ring were not simple expressions of affection. They became symbols of secrecy, engraved into her Hello Kitty world, silently tying her to someone whose words and actions reflected a pattern of dominance. As investigators continued analyzing seized devices and matching digital timestamps, each clue added to a growing narrative of affection that turned destructive, where what once appeared symbolic became a mark of control. The case grew even more unsettling with the emergence of David's mysterious alter ego known as Atami, a fictional persona often referenced in his creative projects. Introduced during a 2023 interview, David described Atami, which he said meant pain in Japanese, as a character from his unfinished manga, a darker version of himself, inspired by psychological stories like Fight Club. He explained that Atami represented chaos and internal struggle, a figure who caused disorder only to later resolve it. When viewed in hindsight, this fictional alter ego took on a far more disturbing meaning. It offered a glimpse into a mind fascinated by the tension between control and collapse, where fantasy and reality began to intertwine. David once admitted that Atami appeared at unpredictable times, as if this persona occasionally surfaced in his real life. Fans and analysts have since questioned whether Atami was simply a creative outlet or something deeper, an escape that blurred into real decisions and consequences. The 2022 music video for Romantic Homicide, his breakout hit, now draws renewed attention for its haunting imagery and emotional tone. Released when Celeste was just 13 and already in contact with him, its scenes of heartbreak and isolation now appear unsettlingly close to the story that would unfold years later, an artistic echo that feels impossible to ignore. The music video portrays David and his alter ego, Atami, blindfolded and holding a knife, while a pale, ghostly female figure with long dark hair moves through scenes filled with sorrow and guilt. The lyrics, "I'm scared. It feels like you don't care. I hurt you in my mind," play alongside haunting imagery of a silent girl whose presence lingers like a memory. In a later performance during David's 2023 Los Angeles concert, he staged a symbolic funeral, appearing to mourn beside a coffin as fans chanted, turning the performance into a ritualized moment of grief. For many viewers, these creative choices, the knife, the spectral girl, the funeral, began to feel less like performance art and more like an eerie reflection of later real-world events. By October 2025, the video had surpassed 80 million views, prompting speculation that David might have been expressing something much darker beneath the surface of his art. Adding to the discomfort were a series of old social media posts that fans archived before they were deleted. In one, he jokingly imagined a dark fantasy about two people from another era trying to change their violent ways. In another, he shared a meme suggesting jealousy and possessiveness, accompanied by unsettling captions. Together, these posts, when viewed alongside his Atami persona and the visual storytelling in Romantic Homicide, revealed a recurring theme of control and obsession. Psychologists later noted that such repeated exposure to violent or toxic imagery can numb both the creator and the audience, turning harmful ideas into normalized patterns. For Celeste, who had been drawn into David's world, the influence of his Atami character appeared less like coincidence and more like a warning that no one recognized in time. The case took an even stranger turn when investigators uncovered evidence suggesting David had blurred the lines between two young women named Celeste. The first was Celeste Rivas, the 14-year-old known for her signature curls and soft features, often seen in her Hello Kitty-themed photos wearing oversized hoodies and large glasses. The second was Celeste Herrera, a 23-year-old influencer with straight hair and a confident online image, who began appearing in David's social circle around the same time. Side-by-side comparisons told a confusing story. Rivas looked unmistakably young and innocent, while Herrera's style and demeanor suggested maturity. In the now-deleted Summer Uptown music video filmed in July 2024, a woman who closely resembled Herrera appeared as the female lead, sparking theories that David used her image to distract attention from speculation about his connection to Rivas. Observers even noticed Herrera joining his live streams wearing glasses similar to Rivas's, further blending the two identities, intentionally or not, and deepening the mystery surrounding David's actions during that period. Critics believe David used Herrera as a distraction to hide his connection to Celeste Rivas during her disappearance, a strategy that worked until Celeste's body was found in his Tesla on September 8, 2025. As the case deepened, attention turned to Marcus Wonderboy Thompson, David's longtime cameraman. Leaked group chats and resurfaced TikTok clips suggest Wonderboy behaved inappropriately with younger fans and may have known about Celeste's situation but stayed silent. One viral video showed him joking inappropriately during a 2024 shoot, while a deleted live stream revealed flirty exchanges with underage viewers. Police have seized his devices, though no charges have been filed. His silence since the discovery has fueled suspicions of a toxic culture around David, one that blurred boundaries and avoided accountability. That morning in Los Angeles, a report of a strange odor from David's Tesla led to one of the year's most chilling revelations. Police officers arrived around 10:50 in the morning, wearing gloves and masks as they approached the car, trying to block the unbearable odor hanging in the air. When they opened the front storage compartment of the Tesla, what they discovered was far from a forgotten gym bag or groceries. Inside a black plastic duffel bag, they found the remains of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Authorities described the condition as extremely advanced, suggesting that she had been there for several weeks. Forensic specialists later confirmed that she was wearing a tube top, black leggings, a yellow bracelet, and small stud earrings. On her right index finger, faint traces of a tattoo could still be seen, a quiet reminder of the young life lost. The duffel bag had been wrapped in layers of plastic and sealed tightly, turning the car's compartment into a confined space where decomposition accelerated. Investigators determined that Celeste had likely passed away sometime in late August, shortly before what would have been her 15th birthday in early September. The Tesla itself told a separate story, a record of neglect and avoidance. The vehicle had been issued a parking ticket on August 27 near David Burke's rented home in the Hollywood Hills, a property known for its panoramic city views. Another citation followed on September 3 for exceeding the 72-hour parking limit. Neighbors had complained about the car sitting unmoved for weeks, its windows fogged and its tires untouched since mid-August. The smell only became noticeable after it was towed to a city impound lot on September 5. From there, the LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division took over, sealing the area as a crime scene. Forensic teams began collecting fiber samples, checking for traces of biological material, and analyzing every inch of the vehicle's interior. Captain Scott Williams, who leads the investigation, addressed the public on October 1. His statement was calm but firm. "We can confirm that Celeste Rivas Hernandez has passed away, and her remains were found inside the front compartment of a vehicle registered to David Burke." The message was clear: this was not an accident, nor an act of self-harm. It was a deliberate attempt to hide what had happened. The evidence pointed to panic and haste, suggesting someone had tried to conceal the truth rather than confront it. The car's long period of abandonment implied that whoever was responsible hoped that time would erase the traces of what had occurred. What began as a missing persons case had now reached its most heartbreaking and revealing point, exposing the tragic end of Celeste's long disappearance. When Celeste was just 13, she was first reported missing on April 5, 2024. What began as a desperate search eventually ended with her remains discovered inside a celebrity's car. The rented home in the Hollywood Hills, located only a few blocks away, became the center of the investigation, where authorities recovered electronic devices and traces of fabric fibers. According to police records, David was initially cooperative but soon requested legal representation. His tour dates disappeared one by one, vanishing as quickly as the shine on his Tesla under the September sun. For Celeste's family in Lake Elsinore, the phone call came like a sudden storm. The sight of their daughter's once lively curls, now sealed away as evidence, broke their world apart. The odor that led to her discovery was more than decay. It was the smell of unchecked power and a young fan's admiration twisted into a devastating secret, left out in the open beneath Hollywood's glamorous surface. On September 18, 2025, the LAPD executed a search at David's rented home in the Hills, a luxurious 4,000 square foot mansion leased under his manager, Josh Marshall. The 12-hour operation focused on finding blood evidence. Forensic specialists sprayed luminol throughout the bathrooms, bedrooms, and garage, searching for any trace of hemoglobin's faint glow. Sources confirmed on October 3 that the laboratory results were still pending, but a positive match could shift the investigation from concealment to something more serious, linking Celeste's remains to the place she was last seen alive in late August. The police also seized several electronic devices, laptops, phones, and articles of clothing believed to hold potential evidence of deleted conversations or signs of Celeste's presence, perhaps a strand of her curly hair or the fibers from the clothes she wore. The Tesla, ticketed nearby on August 27, suggested that whatever happened took place close to that home, its front compartment hiding the wrapped remains. Following the raid, David left the residence, and both he and Marshall stopped communicating with the media. That same night, chaos spread to David's family home in Hempstead, Texas, when officers responded to a false emergency call claiming shots had been fired. Body camera footage later revealed the tense scene: deputies with weapons drawn, David's parents in pajamas facing bright floodlights and shouted commands. Within 20 minutes, the house was cleared. No one was harmed, but the incident highlighted how the scandal had spiraled out of control. The raid and the false report underscored the turmoil surrounding the case, stretching from Hollywood's glitter to the quiet neighborhoods of Texas. As investigators waited for lab results, the focus remained on the blood evidence that might unlock the truth behind Celeste's death. The tragedy of Celeste Rivas Hernandez's story is one of missed chances and ignored warnings. Records from the Riverside County Sheriff's Department show multiple visits to her family home between February and April 2024, a series of desperate calls for help from parents who saw their 13-year-old daughter slipping further away. In the end, her silhouette, once full of life and movement, became only a shadow that haunted their doorway. Sources close to the musician told Rolling Stone on September 30 that he was cooperating with authorities, allowing access to his devices and timeline during the early stages of the investigation. His spokesperson confirmed to NBC News on September 17 that David had been made aware of the situation and was assisting investigators despite being in the middle of his tour. Detectives appreciated his initial cooperation, which provided early data related to his Hollywood Hills rental home and vehicle logs. At first, his actions appeared to reflect transparency or at least an attempt to clear his name. David canceled several performances but maintained a public image of shock and sadness. However, that image began to crumble by late September. On October 1, reports revealed that David had hired Blair Burke, one of Hollywood's top criminal defense attorneys, known for representing major celebrities such as Justin Bieber, Britney Spears, and Kanye West. Burke's involvement suggested a turn toward crisis management. Sources told the press that the decision was a precautionary move, preparing for possible complications if any evidence pointed to deeper involvement in the case. After bringing Burke on board, David stopped making public statements and withdrew from social media entirely. His team began declining all media inquiries while the Los Angeles Police Department's Homicide Division encountered difficulties securing additional interviews. Private investigator Steve Fisher described this as a familiar strategy: cooperate just enough at the start, then allow legal counsel to take over. As of October 3, 2025, a report from Yahoo News stated that no arrests had been made and no formal suspects had been named. Captain Scott Williams of the LAPD reiterated that without a confirmed cause of death, determining criminal responsibility beyond concealment was still uncertain. This shift, from openness to silence, has fueled speculation about David's true intentions. Was his cooperation sincere, or merely a calculated pause? For Celeste's family, the silence has only deepened their pain, leaving them to grieve while questions remain unanswered. A recently surfaced video has now reignited attention on the final months of Celeste Rivas Hernandez's life. The footage captures a tense, emotional exchange that offers a rare glimpse into the struggles of the 14-year-old, shedding light on the reality she faced and the warning signs that were missed. Investigators obtained the video, which was later discussed on the Surviving the Survivor podcast hosted by journalist Joel Waldman and therapist Mother Carmela. Josh Marshall's approach to business has always been a blend of sharp creative instinct and entrepreneurial drive. Combining his deep understanding of A&R with a strong sense of branding, he has a reputation for transforming early demos into global successes. From his Manhattan office, he manages a focused network of projects centered on hip-hop, indie, and R&B. One of his key milestones was Jitty Perez's 2023 EP How to Catch a Falling Knife, which marked a new chapter in Mogul Vision's partnership with Interscope. However, in the case of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, Marshall's name appeared in more than just professional records. He personally arranged the lease for a Hollywood Hills mansion in early 2025, a modern property valued at $20,000 a month, complete with panoramic views and an infinity pool. The home was located just a short distance from where David's black Tesla was later discovered. The property owner confirmed that Marshall handled the rental agreement himself but ended the lease abruptly on September 24, 2025, only days after investigators conducted a search and collected electronic devices from the residence. Speculation grew when reports surfaced of a red Tesla Model Y registered to Marshall's company being seen in the same garage in July 2024, coinciding with Celeste's last verified visit captured by a security camera. Some online users later shared unclear still images that appeared to show the red SUV parked next to David's black car, further fueling discussion. Marshall publicly addressed the claims in a video on September 28, stating clearly that he had never lived at the property and had no access to its cameras or systems. Yet, the repeated mention of the red Tesla led to ongoing debate about whether it was simply a coincidence or part of a larger connection that remains under investigation. On that same day, Josh Marshall, CEO of Mogul Vision and manager to David, broke his silence again in response to a viral video accusing him of disregarding messages from Celeste's family. The clip, posted by an independent commentator, suggested that Marshall had received emails from Celeste's mother in April 2024 expressing concern about her daughter's whereabouts and her association with David. The video claimed he ignored the messages. Marshall firmly denied this in a comment, stating, "This video is incorrect and based on false information. I had no knowledge of that situation." He later added a short written post saying he never received such emails and had no involvement in any personal matters, an attempt to clarify his position while avoiding further speculation. 2 days later, on September 30th, Josh Marshall appeared on television for the first time, giving a short 156-second interview filmed in a Manhattan studio. Dressed neatly in a button-down shirt, he sat with his hands folded, projecting calm and control. When asked about the email allegations, he responded, "Those claims are baseless. I manage David's professional career, not his personal life." He added, "This situation is heartbreaking. Celeste's family deserves answers, and I hope the authorities find them soon." Then came a brief pause before he concluded, "This will be the only time I speak on this matter." That final sentence struck viewers deeply. Some saw it as careful wording guided by legal advice, while others viewed it as a sign he might be holding back information. The phrase quickly spread across social media, with users debating whether it was a statement of finality or a way to avoid accountability. Instead of easing public concern, it fueled more questions. Celeste's aunt, in a crowdfunding update, expressed frustration, saying they had reached out many times for help but received no response. Investigators are now reviewing Marshall's communications, including the alleged emails and his connection to the Hollywood Hills property lease. His denial, paired with the ongoing questions about a red Tesla reportedly seen at the same location, keeps him under public scrutiny. Was his brief remark a slip of emotion or a deliberate attempt to delay? In a story filled with unanswered questions, his words only deepen the mystery. Marshall's short statement continues to divide opinion. Some believe he spoke cautiously under legal advice, trying not to interfere with the investigation. Others think it reflects deeper knowledge of the situation, particularly given his position as David's manager and leaseholder of the $20,000 a month property. Legal analysts suggest the comment was carefully constructed to show cooperation without admitting liability, a standard practice among public figures facing controversy. While there have been no formal charges as of October 3, 2025, online discussions have kept the issue alive. Observers noted his controlled tone and brief glance off camera, interpreting it as uncertainty or tension. Celeste's relatives have since demanded greater transparency, calling his remarks dismissive. Whether intentional or not, Marshall's closing words turned what was meant to be reassurance into a source of renewed speculation, keeping attention fixed on his role in a story that refuses to fade. Josh Marshall's firm statement of zero knowledge, made on September 28, 2025, has sparked intense discussion about his role in the unfolding case involving David. Some question whether he is protecting the artist or if he has unknowingly become involved in something far more complex. As both David's manager and the CEO of Mogul Vision, Marshall had leased a $20,000 a month home in the Hollywood Hills, the same property where Celeste was reportedly last seen in August 2025. In his public denial, Marshall insisted that he had never lived there and that no vehicle registered to him was connected to that address, seeking to separate himself from the site where authorities later collected electronic devices and fibers during a September 18 investigation. However, neighbors recalled seeing a red Tesla Model Y, reportedly registered to Marshall, at the property in July 2024, around the same period when Celeste appeared on nearby security footage. This inconsistency raised doubts about his complete detachment, suggesting that his proximity to David's world may have been deeper than he admitted. His claim of having no knowledge might be a form of professional loyalty, a manager's instinct to protect his client's reputation while shielding himself from liability, particularly as no formal charges had been made as of October 3, 2025. Meanwhile, Celeste's family, through their crowdfunding updates, accused Marshall of ignoring their earlier messages asking for help. To them, his silence feels like avoidance rather than innocence, and his repeated denials have only deepened their frustration. The September 18, 2025 investigation at David's Hollywood Hills residence set off a chain reaction. Only a few days later, on September 24, David and Marshall abruptly ended their lease, with moving trucks seen outside as they cleared out. The property owner, Malden Fanovic, confirmed that Marshall had called to terminate the agreement, stating simply that they could no longer stay there. It remains unclear how much time was left on the lease, which began in February 2024. This quick departure came immediately after forensic teams collected laptops, phones, and clothing materials for testing, creating an image of panic and withdrawal rather than transparency. For David, barely 20 years old, leaving that mansion meant more than just moving out. It marked the collapse of his base in Los Angeles and the beginning of isolation amid a deepening investigation. A preliminary autopsy report conducted by the Los Angeles County Department of Medical Examiner following the September 8 discovery of Celeste Rivas Hernandez's remains revealed few immediate answers. The 15-year-old's body, found in a severely deteriorated condition, showed no visible evidence of violent injury, no fractures, no gunshot damage, and no wounds indicating direct trauma. The findings have left investigators searching for clearer insight into what exactly happened in the final days of her life, as they continue to piece together a story that remains filled with uncertainty and sorrow. This tragic case continues to leave investigators searching for answers in a mystery that grows deeper with each passing day. The medical examiner's report confirmed that Celeste was not expecting at the time of her death, nor had she been in the year before, quietly dismissing the online rumors that tried to link her passing to speculation about David. Her death certificate, obtained through public records, lists the cause as deferred, pending toxicology results that could take several weeks or even months to complete. The manner of her death also remains undetermined, leaving open the possibilities of accident, natural causes, self-harm, or foul play. This uncertainty has been deeply frustrating for both investigators from the Robbery Homicide Division and Celeste's grieving family. What is known, however, paints a heartbreaking picture. Celeste's body was found in David's vehicle, carefully concealed inside a large travel bag. She was wearing black leggings, a tube top, a yellow bracelet, and small stud earrings. Despite the condition of the remains, a small tattoo on her right index finger was still visible, a haunting reminder of the young girl she once was. Examiners determined that the level of decomposition indicated she had likely been deceased for several weeks, not days, meaning her passing probably occurred in late August. Because of this, her official date of death has been marked as the day she was found. The report also notes that the location of her death is simply listed as vehicle, a detail that underscores how difficult this case has been to unravel. As of October 3, 2025, the investigation remains open. The medical examiner continues to wait for final lab results, as confirmed by recent updates from multiple news outlets. For Celeste's loved ones, these clinical details clash painfully with their memories of a bright, joyful teenager whose laughter once filled every room. Each passing day without clarity only deepens their heartbreak, turning this case into a haunting reminder of how fragile truth can be when the evidence remains just out of reach. Forensic expert Amy Santoro, with over 15 years of experience, has become a central voice in explaining the challenges behind determining what happened to Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Speaking at a recent investigative forum, Santoro said that the main possibilities point to either an accidental event or a form of asphyxiation. She noted that long delays in official reports are common when there are no clear injuries and evidence has been affected by time and heat. Santoro explained that severe decomposition and environmental exposure can destroy key forensic clues. Her first theory suggests that lab tests may show traces of substances that could explain what happened, but when a body has been exposed for weeks, bacteria and chemical breakdown can make results uncertain. If toxicology tests detect anything unusual, it might indicate an unintentional event rather than deliberate harm. However, analyzing bone material can take months and is far more complex than testing soft tissue. Her second theory involves suffocation, a cause that often leaves few visible signs. Over time, even microscopic evidence may disappear. Santoro also mentioned that cases like this sometimes involve emotional or controlling dynamics, though nothing can be confirmed without final lab results. She concluded that the investigation remains extremely sensitive. The outcome will depend entirely on scientific evidence, not speculation. More than anything, Santoro emphasized that what truly matters is bringing clarity and dignity to a young girl's story, and allowing justice to move forward. The investigation into Celeste Rivas Hernandez's death stands at a critical point, with the delayed toxicology results becoming the single greatest obstacle to determining the truth. As of October 3, 2025, the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office continues to list her cause of death as pending, a status that experts warn could take several months to resolve. Forensic pathologist Drive. Michael Baden, who has consulted on similar cases involving advanced decomposition, explained that the lack of visible injuries such as wounds or fractures leaves few clues to follow. According to him, if the toxicology findings do not provide a clear answer, the case could remain officially undetermined indefinitely. The autopsy revealed no broken bones or penetrating injuries, placing the weight of the investigation on laboratory testing. However, weeks of exposure to heat inside the vehicle where her remains were found severely damaged most biological samples. Blood had coagulated, eye fluid had evaporated, and soft tissues had deteriorated beyond usable limits. Even bone marrow, often the last resort for chemical analysis, presents challenges due to bacterial interference, which can alter potential findings and delay results. This uncertainty has left the Los Angeles Police Department's Homicide Division struggling to move forward. Captain Scott Wims admitted that without a confirmed cause of death, it is difficult to determine criminal responsibility beyond the act of concealment. While the state of the remains clearly shows tampering after death, the motive and severity of the act depend on how she died. If her passing resulted from an accidental event, the legal consequences would differ significantly from a deliberate act. Experts describe this as a complex and delicate balance between science and justice. If the toxicology tests return inconclusive results, especially if traces of any substances have degraded beyond detection, prosecutors may face challenges proving intent in court. The extreme heat inside the sealed vehicle likely sped up decomposition, erasing potential signs that could have pointed investigators toward a clearer conclusion. For Celeste's family, this uncertainty is deeply painful. Their crowdfunding campaign continues to receive support, yet closure feels distant. An undetermined finding offers no peace, it only prolongs doubt and allows those under suspicion to continue their lives without resolution. After weeks in the custody of the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner, Celeste's remains were finally released to her family in Lake Elsinore on September 23, 2025, 15 days after being discovered. The death certificate confirmed the handover, allowing her loved ones to begin the process of farewell. A memorial service was scheduled for October 4, drawing hundreds from the community. Candles lit the night in memory of a bright young girl whose laughter once filled the streets. A verified crowdfunding page organized by her relative Esmeralda Lozano has raised more than $24,000, exceeding its original goal to cover funeral expenses, therapy, and lost wages. The updates shared on the page express both heartbreak and gratitude. "She was our light." Amid an ongoing investigation and unanswered questions, the overwhelming support from strangers and neighbors alike has turned sorrow into a collective expression of compassion and remembrance for Celeste. Since September 8, 2025, online communities and candlelight vigils in Lake Elsinore have drawn thousands of people united by a shared mission for truth. Across social platforms, timelines filled with discussions about David's behavior have evolved into organized petitions calling for stronger oversight of missing youth cases in Riverside County. Community investigators also uncovered security footage from September 2024, reshaping the public understanding of Celeste's disappearance and urging officials to provide transparency. The GoFundMe campaign started by her aunt, Esmeralda Lozano, has now surpassed $24,000, with contributions coming from people around the world. The funds support funeral arrangements, counseling, and the family's relocation. "She's not just a headline, she's our girl," one local organizer told reporters while preparing for a memorial on October 4 that gathered more than 500 people. This movement has already collected over 50,000 petition signatures, and even online boycotts of David's content have drawn attention to the case. However, the rising attention has also brought risks, including misinformation and false reports, which authorities have had to carefully manage. Despite these challenges, many believe that hope lies in sustained advocacy and responsible awareness. Calls and messages sent to the Los Angeles Police Department have generated new leads, proving that public voices can help move an investigation forward. For Celeste, whose bright spirit once filled her neighborhood with joy, this wave of solidarity is not about anger, it is about recognition and the promise that her story will not fade into silence. The unanswered questions still loom large. What will come from Josh Marshall's official statements and the results of the pending toxicology reports? Will science confirm an accidental event or something more deliberate that time has obscured? The details, from the red Tesla key card to the incomplete laboratory findings, keep David's role uncertain. His quiet stance has left room for speculation, but without clear proof of wrongdoing, justice remains suspended. Celeste's story has become a symbol for many, a reminder that the life of a 15-year-old girl should never be reduced to a mystery unsolved. Her memory continues to inspire community efforts, from petitions and vigils to donations that fund counseling for others in need. The movement known as Justice for Celeste grows stronger each day, transforming grief into purpose. In a world often driven by headlines, her story shines as a call for compassion and accountability. Celeste was not just a name in a report, she was a dreamer with energy, kindness, and light. Her story reminds us that real change begins when people refuse to look away. Her light still burns, asking us all the same question: will you help carry it forward?